Hello, everybody. So we are taking a look at what the connection is between you and a person that you are not in contact with. If you have a no communication situation, or even just a strained communication, or just like there's a weird energy behind your communication, I would consider that also a type of no contact situation, in that the same principles likely apply and the energy that I'm channeling will likely apply as far as the reasons and the motivation behind someone kind of pulling their energy back, even if it's not like a full stop of contact. But definitely if you are in full no contact, this is a reading that, I really hope can shed some light on that situation, because I know that that can be confusing and painful. So let's take a look at the choices. I am filming this on my dog Pepper and my last day in Lake Tahoe. We travel, so we are traveling on. We are moving on this afternoon, which is very bittersweet. But we've been seeing a lot of birds around, so I chose these 3 bird cards, and then these are 3 rocks that we found on our walk this morning. So I just really wanted to kind of commemorate Tahoe on our last day here. So the first card that we have is the eagle with this little kind of like orange and gray speckled rock. Then we have the owl with this kind of bright, shining white elongated rock. And then we have the peacock with this kind of blue-gray dark rock. Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment to go ahead and meditate, choose your pile. You can pause the video here if you need more time, but when you are ready to join me at your pile, timestamps are below. Hello, pile 1. So yes, we are diving into the energy of why you are in no contact with your person, what led up to this, what their current thoughts, feelings, and intentions are. If you chose the eagle or this gray and orange speckled rock, you have arrived at your pile. So I'm going to leave this over in the corner here as kind of the mascot of the pile. And I do think that, I do think with this eagle, there is an energy here of spirit saying that you are going to overcome this. I'm already sensing just a lot of pain. And it's counterintuitive, because when I pulled the cards, just without even thinking, without even trying to make a prejudgment, I think my subconscious just thought, oh, the eagle pile, well, they're going to be just kind of mildly curious, but pretty much floating above it. But I kind of am getting spirit is saying this is the energy that you're being called to, but it's not the energy that you're in, because I'm just feeling so much pain right now. Melancholy, aching. Like my heart is like this throbbing pain in my chest. So I actually feel like this might have been a situation where, I just heard that old song, Papa Was a Rolling Stone. So I actually feel like this might have been a situation where this person that you're dealing with was sort of a lone wolf energy. And I think that this was a situation that in many ways, oh God, I just heard the phrase doomed from the start resound in my head. Now, this is not to say we're going to get more context as the reading goes on. This is not to say that they never will come back around, that they don't have feelings, don't think about this. But I do just feel like there is this sort of eagle spirit inside of them that is always kind of calling them to fly away, to embrace freedom, to embrace just riding the wind, that is something something within them that is always going to be pulling at them, that it doesn't matter how comfortable the nest is, how beautiful the nest is, how much just kind of Queen of Cupsy energy you are putting into creating this loving, beautiful home, how much Queen of Pentacles-y energy you are putting it into making it feel secure and nurturing. Yeah, they are always going to have like at least a small part of their brain, but I'm thinking like half their brain is going to be pulling them saying, you need to be free, fly away. And that's going to be really hard for them to ignore. I just heard siren song. Yeah, and I think that that is apt. I think that they are hearing this siren song toward freedom. And I'm experiencing it very much as like a bird's instinctive call to migrate. Yeah, it's like what makes birds fly south during the winter? You know, maybe their bird parents tell them this is what we do. Maybe it's, you know, some sort of learned behavior passed down, but that doesn't really explain it. When you look at the way that they fly in formation, when you look at the way that they know the exact day to go, no, that's their instinct calling them. That is a natural instinct born out of something that is deeper than the human mind can understand. And this person has that. I think that they have like a vagabond instinct within them that they are never going to be able to fully extinguish. And they shouldn't. Honestly, they shouldn't, because I do feel that people were created in these unique ways. And yeah, there's a difference between just like being a dickhead and heeding a call that is deep within them that they can't extinguish and shouldn't, because it's such an integral part of who they are. Now, don't get me wrong, that often expresses itself looking much the same way as just being a dickhead. Like, often it is very difficult to tell the difference between those two things. But there is a difference with this person. There is a difference. And here's where I think they go wrong. They also feel the call of the nest. And they also feel the call of you, your sweet energy, your nurturing energy, I think that they like the way you look at them. I think that they like the way that you touch them really lightly, the way that it makes them feel at home, the way that it makes them feel taken care of and centered and adored. I think that you make them feel cherished and adored. And they also feel the very strong call of that. So yeah, this is a tough one because there's no easy answer to this, and there are no real bad guys, although I'm sure that's not the way that you're experiencing it emotionally. Yeah, this is a tough one. Yeah, okay, so there is some stubbornness at play here, for sure. I think that's both of you. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I think that both of you, this is like a city mouse, country mouse situation, except what it actually is like a, like stay in one place and build a nest mouse and, like hit the open road mouse. But it's it's not even two competing interests. It's two competing ways of viewing the world. It's two competing ways of living that fulfill you on a deep level. I mean, this is like that old show, Green Acres, where the guy wanted to move to the country and Zsa Zsa Gabor followed him out there, even though she was like very clearly city mouse. And, obviously it was a sitcom, hilarity ensued. But the truth was, I always kind of felt bad for her because I felt like the entire thesis of that show was, isn't it so funny how who you are doesn't matter and you just need to conform to what this man wants you to be. And you can't ever really do that. And isn't that hilarious? And like, I'm probably reading too much into it, but I thought that show was funny when I was a little kid. I mean, it was in reruns even then. It was before my time. But, yeah, I always thought it was funny as a little kid, but I also always thought it was sad. And I think that if the two of you are going to find happiness in one another, and I do feel like there are very deep feelings here. Oh, this is such a hard one. This is such a tough one. Because I feel like so many no contact situations are about one person just needing to overcome something that within them, some kind of fear, some kind of shadow work, some kind of something, and then it can come together. But this is about two very deep competing interests that I don't know if there is really a way to solve this. I mean, unless the two of you are going to come to some kind of compromise where you are like hitting the open road together for a certain period of time and then settling down for a certain period of time and just alternating those two ways of living. But there are such deep feelings here. And like the romantic in me wants to say like, just have a conversation. Love is enough. You can work it out. But I don't actually know if that is true. Let's get some more cards. Let's get some more context here. Okay. The Lover, Tangle. Yeah, there's such deep feelings here. Oh. Captured. Okay. Yeah, so I do feel like the two of you are energetically entangled in the 5D. That is one thing. And I feel like there are incredibly deep feelings here. And I find it interesting that this card, it's not the lovers, it's the lover, which tells me this is the perspective that the two of you have on one another, is that I think the two of you in many ways do view one another as the one. Yeah. And with this captured, I do think that there is this sense, this energy when you are together, that these moments are so precious because they are potentially fleeting. I think that the two of you feel that very sharply when you are together. Yeah, and it also tells me that there is, even when you two are together, physically together, emotionally together, there is already like this sense of melancholy that infuses it. Because there is like just this very, like sharp but also heavy melancholy sense that it is fleeting. It is only temporary. Yeah. I want to get some advice from Spirit before we move on from the Oracle cards here. Spirit, this is a very complicated situation. I don't actually have good advice for pile one. I need an assist here. What is the advice that you have for pile one, Spirit? Okay, connect to the divine, find the magic within. So yeah, I do think that is Spirit saying two things. One, when you connect to the divine, when you Make an intentional, consistent daily effort to live a life that is connected to the divine. So be that through a meditation practice, through, developing your intuition through exercises, through working with crystals, however you achieve that, however you work on that, through a combination of all of those things. First of all, your intuition will become more finely honed. So I think that you will have a better idea of the right way to proceed in this situation. You will have more strength of will to follow through on those intuitive messages that tell you what is right, because you will just have such a stronger sense that it's right. But also, I do with this find the magic within. I think that does mean within you, but I think it might also mean within this situation. I think that there might be a compromise here, but it might be a very out of the box solution. And I think that it really might take like some very King of Wands style thinking to be able to arrive at it. But these very deep and entangled feelings tell me that this could definitely be worth it, even if it takes a lot of sacrifice. Yeah, and look for the overflow of abundance, which I do notice that came out connected to nurture, which I took as being a very Queen of Cups style energy, which is a very watery energy. And then captured has a lot of water on the card, and this girl is swimming in water. So I do think that, and then flowers, which is something that I took as like this exchange of these tangible tokens of emotion that show how deeply you two feel about each other. So yeah, it's a little grouping here of cards that really all indicate the depth of feelings. And even this look for the overflow of abundance card has a full cup on it, like the Ace of Cups. So I do think that Spirit is saying the answer to this is going to be found within your feelings and within this person's feelings and the feelings that you share together. That is where this answer is going to be found. Because, these two advice cards do lead me to believe that there is the potential of an answer here. It's not going to be a conventional answer. It's not going to be a situation where you're like, well, I just need to wait for this person to quote unquote get it out of their system. It's not going to happen. It's part of their system. It's part of who they are. There is going to need to be a meet in the middle solution here. And you're going to you'll need to have to decide if it's worth it, and you'll have to work together with this person to come to a compromise. Okay, that's what I'm getting from the Oracle cards. Let's dive into Tarot. Yeah, this is not going to be an easy situation though. Like, I don't want it to seem as if I'm being flippant, being like, there's a solution, just wait for Spirit to show it to you. Like, no, this is going to be hard. However you slice it, this is going to be tough. Sacrifices are going to need to be made on both sides. It'll need to be, the wheel is going to have to turn at a point where both of you are at the point that you are willing to make sacrifices for one another. And yeah, it's never going to be like a perfect situation. There's always going to be an element of sacrifice on both sides, but there are such deep feelings. Okay, Spirit, tell me about pile one's no contact situation. Tell me more about pile one's no contact situation, please. Yeah, so I was thinking of this as like a metaphorical Papa was a Rolling Stone, vagabond energy, lone wolf energy. But with this Three of Wands, this actually could be actual travel, like geographical travel. Yeah, and then with the Magician here, we have another nod to the idea of developing your intuition and becoming so connected to the 5D that you are able to see solutions, that you are able to pull down solutions from the 5D into the 3D in a very well-developed manifesting way. Yeah, I think that's going to be the key. I think the solution, I think when you get so connected to the 5D that just the communication is just flying back and forth like a fiber optic connection, you're going to see the solution and you're going to do a head slap and you're going to be like, that was staring me in the face the whole time. And in truth, I think that you were just blinded to it because your third eye chakra was not opened wide enough. Yeah, and I think it is also going to take expanding your mental boundaries to be able to see a potential solution to this. Okay, so with this 10 of Pentacles reversed, I am feeling like one thing that needs to happen here is you need to understand that this is never going to evolve into a situation where the two of you are settled, involved in, involved in your community, pillars of the community, with these long established relationships, putting down roots. That's just never going to be what this is. So there needs to be a real acceptance of that if you're going to move forward with this, because it is not fair to this other person for you to think, yeah, I'll do it their way for a while. Because they're going to grow up. They're going to settle down. They're not. It's not about growing up. There's a societal construct that settling down and putting down roots equals maturity. That's not a actual reality thing, though. That this is not in their nature. A 10 of Pentacles life is not in their nature. And it's never going to be in their nature. I mean, that would be capturing a panther and expecting them to start living like a house cat just because you brought them in the house. It doesn't change their nature. It doesn't change who they are. But I think you also need to have enough respect for yourself to understand that you may not be a lone wolf. That may not be your nature. That may not be who you are. And this may be a legitimate city mouse, country mouse situation where it's just the two of you love each other, but it wasn't meant to be. I mean, I know that's hard to hear and it's hard to even conceptualize. Yeah, and with this Judgment reversed, I feel like that's not even something which came out right as I was talking about that. I feel like coming to that conclusion, making that decision that this just wasn't meant to be is not something you're ready to face at this point. And it may not be the reality. This is also, it's a large collective. There's gonna be, in fact, different conclusions that are drawn based on different people's individual journeys. But, the one thing that I do feel like is true across the board here, because it is such the strong theme of this reading, is just that this person also, okay, here's another thing. I think that maybe you're equating settling down, putting down roots, staying in, with this Three of Wands, it may even be staying in one place geographically, settling down. I think you're equating that with commitment to you. And those things are not the same. Committing to a lifestyle of putting down roots is not the same as committing to you. Those two things are different. And that might actually be the start of thinking outside the box here, is to sit down and make a list of the things that commitment means to you. How do you envision it? What does the day-to-day look like? And then figure out from that list what is commitment? What in that list is fulfilling like the societal ideal of just settling down? And what in that list actually is commitment to the relationship, commitment to the two of you? And then figure out if you can live with one but without the other. Yeah, and with this devil reversed, I think that is another indication from spirit that you are looking at this as some like weird fixation they have, or some like, thing that they're drawn to that they're just gonna outgrow. Yeah, I think that you view it as like an immaturity or even a character, if not defect, flaw. Like, I think you view it as something that is going to get worked out as they ascend spiritually. Like, I think you view this lone wolf energy, this vagabond energy, as shadow work, and it's not. With this devil reverse, spirit is saying it's not. It is their eagle nature, and you cannot get an eagle to live in a cage like a parakeet would. An eagle is not a parakeet. Your person is not a parakeet. They are an eagle. And if you want to make it work with them, it's going to have to be an unconventional eagle solution. It's not going to be able to be, that you just wait for them to conform to your idea or society's idea that you just are assuming is what commitment looks like of what this is going to be like, because it's not going to ever be that way. Yeah. So let's get some message cards. I want to get some message cards here. So what would this person want to say from their higher self spirit? What would this person want to say to pile one? What would this person want to say to pile one, please? True love is hard to find, but I found it with you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they look at you as the lover, which I very much channeled as being a synonym of the one. In many ways, I think that they've never felt the way they feel with you. Is that going to be enough, though? That's the question. I feel like that's going to be a different answer for every person listening to this. Babe, I love you. I want to be with you. Again with this love. Yeah, and I think they understand that committing to you is not the same as committing to settling down, but I don't know that you necessarily do. I need more time to heal, to heal and love myself. Yeah, it may be difficult for them to step forward and kind of explain this whole thing to you, because they might, first of all, I think they understand the sacrifice that they would be asking you to make if they asked you to commit to them as they are and not expect them to change. And I don't know if they view themselves as being worth that sacrifice. I don't know if they even feel like it would be right to ask you that. Yeah, and this is so hard for me. I am struggling. Absolutely. I absolutely believe that's true. Yeah, I think that the two of you are struggling being apart. I do think a lot of the reason this person isn't pursuing this further or laying out their position to you, though, is out of respect. Out of respect, and the fact that I feel like they just think, like, who am I to ask this person to basically give up everything to follow me when I'm the weirdo. And by weirdo, I mean the person who has an intrinsic part of their personality that doesn't fit in with societal norms. But there's so many deep feelings here. Holy cow. Sorry, pile one. I am back. I realized that I did not get out the charm pouches. So I went and got those, and yeah, we're actually going to do some, can't get this untied. Here we go. We're actually going to do some, like word magnet art here as well. Poetry. Spirit, give me some words that are going to shed some more light on this situation. Okay, and yeah, so and the urge for the two of you to be together too. So I think that is, the urge to go to another place, to indicates like from one place to another. Yeah, with this friend word, I think that is also like the true basis of the feelings between the two of you, of the depth of those feelings between the two of you, is that in so many ways you are simpatico. With have, I feel like there's a deep sense of belonging that the two of you have together, like a very Six of Cupsy, like we've known each other forever, we really belong to each other. And with song, I'm getting that in many ways, this connection progressed so naturally, like a song that the melody just seems to flow, and you never remember hearing this song before, but you know exactly how it goes. This could also indicate that the two of you have an actual musical connection. Oh, and you could be communicating through the 5D through music as well, sending each other songs. I just heard that somewhere out there song. Oh, and I think that is like, I think that you think about the two of you in those terms many times, that it's like, even though we're far apart, we are looking at the same moon. We are still sharing this same human experience, and we are still connected in that way. Okay, letters. So these can be initials. Sometimes they form words. They can be your initials, first, middle, last, their initials of just things that have to do with this connection. Oh, I think that it's so interesting because these are black and white tiles, and only black tiles came out. That tells me that there is, just like the very first thing I channeled, is there is such deep pain here, such deep melancholy here. Yeah, if you think that they are just like going on their merry way and not thinking about this at all and not feeling any kind of pain over this at all, that is very much not true. So we've got Z, B, Y, L, C, and U. Let's see. So with B, U, C, and then if we had the K, but buck, I get it. I get that as the idea of like bucking societal norms, like going against the grain. Buy, I just heard buy the seat of their pants. So yeah, I feel like this isn't a person that likes to plan way ahead. Let's see. Okay, BU, which is, or like BYU, that's, I saw the Y and then I said BU. So BU could be Boston University, but BYU is what I initially saw, which is Brigham Young University, which is a predominantly Mormon university in Utah. And so there could be also, this could have to do with religious differences, or that could be a connection that the two of you have, is a religious connection. Let's see. Yeah, with LY, that is an abbreviation that many people use for love you. So yeah, there is very deep emotion here, very deep love. Okay, let's grab some numbers. Okay, so these can be, okay, so we got 2 zeros, which, yeah, so I do think that this is matched pair energy, but I think you're both running on empty right now in terms of solutions or ways to make this work. And then we've got 9 and 4. So, these can also be connected like 90, 40, 94, 49. So these can be birth date, birth month, birth year. It can be engram numbers, life path numbers, or addresses, or just anything that has to do with the two of your connection. Okay, so now we're going to grab some zodiac signs. These can be signs that are prominent in one or both of your charts. It can be energies that you're being called to be in, or specific times of year that important things might happen. So we've got Leo, Pisces, and Cancer. Oh, water. Well, not Leo, but Pisces and Cancer. That's a lot of watery energy. Yeah, you know, if I haven't mentioned it, pile one, I will go ahead and say, oop, I shook the table. I will go ahead and say there is so much feeling here, so much love here. Okay. Oh, and then we got the rose. Yep. I do feel like that is an indication of their love for you. Like they are extending you this token of love. But I also feel like it is the idea of being chosen, of you being the one, like on The Bachelor. Will you accept this rose? The final rose. It's the final rose. Yeah. And with this bicycle, I mean, that is to me very strong matched pair energy. And it's very strong, like working well together energy as well, with like the two wheels of the bicycle. Okay, we've got the American flag here, so that can indicate patriotism, or there could be a military connection here. Yeah, maybe it is not that they just feel the need to not settle down. Maybe they feel drawn in a deep way to a job that necessitates that they not settle down. And that is the thing that they are not going to, that is intrinsic within them, and it is not going to change. So yeah, we've got this peace, this dove, this charm that symbolizes peace. It's a dove, and in the dove's mouth is an olive branch. So I do feel like they very, very often think about contacting you and making an offer, but they just don't feel like they have enough to offer. Like, I feel like they're looking at that olive branch going like, it's a branch. It's literally a branch. I'm going to call this person and offer a branch. I mean, metaphorically speaking, obviously. And with this wrench, I feel like that is an acknowledgement that this is going to take work. This is not going to be easy. This is not going to fall into some magic solution that solves everyone's problems and makes it easy all around. This is going to require sacrifice and hard work. Okay, and then we have this heart within a heart, which tells me that just on every freaking level, there is love. Every level, there is love. Then we have this airplane within a star, which first of all gives me travel energy. Secondly, gives me just like the knowledge that you each think of each other as the one. We've got these intertwined hearts. Yeah, your hearts, your souls are intertwined like that. But it's this traveling, this travel energy that's keeping you apart. And then, yeah, and I don't feel like it has to. I feel like with this Lotus charm being the last one, I feel like by getting really connected to spirit, there will be a workable solution that will present itself. There will be a workable compromise. The optimal word there being, or the key word being work, but still, I mean, I think that the feelings here are so deep that if there's any way to make it happen, regardless of how hard it is, I have a feeling the two of you are going to jump at it, because not only are the feelings between you very deep, but the pain of being apart is very deep. So yes, that is what I have for you, pile one. Pile one. So many distractions. Right as I was literally about to say the last couple of sentences of this reading, my dog is like, no, we gotta go out now. Like literally now. So that may like this Yeah, this connection may be marked by, because the first interruption was poor planning on my part. I had not thought ahead and gotten out the charm pouches. And then the second interruption was an external force, like my dog saying, even though I actually did plan ahead on that part, I took her out right before I started filming this reading, but she just had, an emergency, and emergencies happen. So yeah, that actually might be metaphorical, that this connection keeps getting interrupted by forces that are both internal and external. But to wrap this up, I do want to thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with me. And I hope that this reading was of benefit to you, that it gave you clarity and insights and some food for thought and more information to incorporate as you, check in with your intuition and make your decisions about how to proceed. But the thing that I want to leave you with most of all is the knowledge that you are deeply loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. Okay, bye. Hello, pile 2. So if you chose the owl or this white stone with kind of orange threaded through it, you have arrived at your pile. Let's dive in and see if we can get a little wisdom from this owl mascot of your pile. Some messages from Spirit to let us know, why is this person in no contact with you? What led up to it? What is motivating the continuation of it? What are the energies? And what does it look like the trajectory is? Okay, so right away with protection and shell, I'm getting that this person has built a hard outer shell around their heart to protect themselves. Yeah. I don't think it's to protect themselves from you. I don't think they view you as dangerous. I think it's to protect themselves from the unknown with this Discover card. Discover card, like the credit card. Yeah, that's funny. I think that they don't like to feel out of control. They don't like to feel like there could be a future ahead that they don't see, like every tiny little part of the path prior to stepping on it. Like, I think stepping look at how this bear is stepping forward, and there's nothing actually in the art that depicts anything solid under his feet. I think that is what your person is feeling like. Like, the back 3 feet are on this shell. They are on a shell. The back 3 feet are balancing on this shell that this person has built around the soft, ooey gooey inside parts of them. And they are tempted by you to step off into space, to discover what could be between the two of you. But that's 1 foot's worth of temptation. 3 feet are still balancing on this hard shell that is protecting their heart. And what they don't even realize is that they are going to lose something valuable when they lose you, because they continue to hold back. And that is going to hurt them in many ways, perhaps even more than if they had leapt off of the shell and crash landed. Because at least then they could have recovered from that heartbreak and looked back on it knowing they did everything that they could to make it work. And they shot their shot. They took their chance, and that chance just didn't work out. But when they look back and realize that they were simply too scared to go after, look at these double stars here up in the corners of this card. When they realize that they missed out on you and lost you, the star, double star, because they were too scared and they wouldn't overcome it. Yeah, that's not going to be a good feeling. That's not going to be a good feeling at all. Holy cow. Yeah, let's get some more context here, Spirit. Yeah, perfect storm. I do think that there is something about you that is so different from people that they normally encounter. That's why they are tempted to step off of this shell that they normally feel so safe and secure. It keeps them so safe and secure. But there's something about you that tempts them to, yeah, with this snake card, I'm getting the energy of they feel like they could leave their old skin behind. They feel like they could, like when they say like a snail carries its home on its back. But I do feel like there are animals that live inside shells, but then when they're outgrowing the shell, they have to leave the shell behind and find a new one. And then like with a snake shedding its old skin, yeah, there is something about you that is very much drawing them to evolve. Okay, because they very much sense that there could be so much joy and perfection and vibing between you. Yeah, this may be my higher percentage than normal, or not higher percentage than normal, higher percentage than the usual, than the other piles exactly. I'm sorry, I'm having an ADHD moment. I just got so many downloads flooding my brain when I saw these sunflowers. We'll get to it in a second. Let me go ahead and complete the sentence that I've tried 3 times to complete now and have been distracted by my own brain. This may be the pile that has a higher percentage than the other piles of LGBT energy, because we've got 2 cards that have come out with LGBT energy. Wow, Melanie, that wasn't so hard. Okay, so let's talk about the sunflowers here. I just listened to a YouTube video that talked about how sunflowers, and interestingly, it was a YouTube video that was on Jamie Dodger's channel, who is like a very successful, well-known trans personality on YouTube. So yeah, that is even more indication that this could be my higher percentage than other piles LGBT energies. But yes, so they talked about how it was just kind of an aside. It wasn't the topic of the video, but he and his guest talked about how sunflowers will always turn their face to the sun. They follow the sun throughout the day. The face of the flower will always be turned toward the sun. But if the sun isn't out, they turn their faces toward each other. So I think, and I just saw like a real echo of that story in the way that these 2 ladies are looking at each other. I mean, look, you can tell that they're one another's sun. Look at how their faces are shining. Yeah, so I do think that there is an energy of this person recognizing that you are their sun. Not only the major arcana meaning of the sun of like bliss, joyfulness, warmth, fulfillment, satisfaction. Not only that, but also like in the case of a sunflower, you are the source of nourishment. You are the thing that gives the power that lets them run, basically. Like they think of themselves as a solar powered engine and you are the sun. And that is the very thing that is tempting them to step outside of this shell. But yeah, just like on that protection card, it's 1 paw off the shell. Like they're like 25% there at this point. And beloved, and it's another LGBT representation. Interesting. So that could also, and with the all the imagery that's come through about the idea of coming out of the shell, that could also mean that, that there is just something about this connection where it would create kind of a social stir. There's something about it that, people in the wider social sphere, even if it's none of their business, I think that we can all agree that has never kept someone from having nor expressing an opinion. The mere fact that it is none of their business is not something that stops a lot of people from drawing conclusions, placing judgment. And so there could be something about this connection that sort of, that this person wants to keep it hidden. And I'm not thinking that it's something about you. Like this whole shell energy I've been channeling as something that's about themselves, their heart, keeping something in their own heart hidden. And they think that they're keeping it protected by keeping it hidden, but they're actually hurting themselves. They have outgrown this shell, but they refuse to come out of it and look for a new one. Yeah, they are like a snake who is trying to exist in too tight skin and refuses to shed its own old skin. It's not going to turn out well for them. It's going to result in a lot of pain. I mean, think about wearing shoes that are too tight. Think about how painful that is. Now imagine if the shoes are all over your entire body. Yeah, it's not a comfortable feeling. And I mean, I think that they are feeling a lot of internal angst over it. And I do think that there is a recognition here of how this storm is also hurting you. They are not only hurting themselves. I do think they understand that they are hurting you, but I think they feel very powerless to fight against it. Yeah, so we've got archway here. I many times take these tea leaf oracles as just like the image and the symbol, but sometimes I feel drawn to the words that are the caption that's at the bottom of the card. This says new opportunities, possibilities, and paths opening up. But if you think about it, going down a new path, it does require a certain amount of courage. It does require a certain amount of adventurous spirit. And it does require a certain amount of like not giving a shit what other people think about the path that you're taking. And I think that this person is having problems summoning all of those energies. I think that might be partially what draws them to you, because I feel like your kind of attitude about things, at least as you have shown it to this other person, is like, oh, right. I used to have a fuck to give about what other people think, but I spent that like early on in my teenage years, and I just never saw the need to restock on fucks to give about what other people think. So I have 0 of them. I am all out of them. And I think this person just finds the idea of being able to be like that so fucking intoxicating. Yeah, I think that they think of you as a real firecracker, but I also think, the meaning of this card is excitement. I also think they feel a real sense of excitement about, I think you have introduced the idea to them that it is possible to live a life that is not defined by other people's expectations and judgments. And as weird as it may seem to think about this, I think that was honestly a new concept to them. And they like it, like with this bear, like sort of testing the waters with that one paw. They like it. They're drawn to it. They're so scared though. They're so scared. Why did I just hear in my head they're not allowed to contact you? Yeah, they may have set like very specific rules in place for themselves, because I also just heard slippery slope. They may view you as a real slippery slope. Yeah, I don't feel like, I mean, unless you guys are teenagers, unless, you're a teenager listening to this, I don't think that they're in a situation where there are literally rules preventing them from talking to you. I mean, unless they're in another relationship and they've made an agreement with their partner that they won't talk to you, that's a possibility. But I'm not even channeling it as external rules that are making them not allowed to talk to you. I think this is a boundary they've put in place for themselves. I think that you represent an explosion to them. And while I think that they think of it as a firecracker, like beautiful to watch, exciting to listen to, that pop sound, like they're drawn to it. They want to set it off, but they are afraid that it is going to explode in their hand and cause irreparable damage. There is the draw of wanting to set it off at the same time as there is the fear and wanting to keep it hidden and packed away. So yeah, I think that they have imposed rules for themselves surrounding you. And I think that one of them is that they are not allowed to reach out to you. And I think they even have mental rules about how often they're allowed to think of you, the ways that they are allowed to think about you. I think that this person thinks that they can solve this through self-discipline. And maybe they can. I mean, they wouldn't be the first person who would have lived a life of quiet desperation, pushing down their subconscious and their intuition, screaming at them about what they really are supposed to do, and them, putting enough blankets over that fire until it's nothing but embers, just sort of whispering to them like, this is not the life that you're meant for. And then it just sort of devolves into desperation and depression and regret as they get older. But they will have achieved their goal of never suffering social consequences. So yeah, who cares if you're barely existing in a state of deep depression, as long as everybody around you thinks that you're real cool, right? I mean, obviously, I sound kind of sarcastic. That is only probably my own, disgust with myself from times in my life when I lived by that ethos. And now that I am well out of that, I understand how ridiculous it is. But honestly, in compassion for this person, it seems so real while you're in it. Yeah, it really seems real while you're in it. Like, social consequences can seem like death. Social ostracism can honestly feel like a death. So I do have sympathy for what this person is going through, but I do hope that they come to their senses prior to, laying on their deathbed going like, God, why was I so concerned about what my fucking friends would have thought about me going after pile 2? I honestly, I'm going to cry right now. I see this as, if they don't get it together, this is going to turn into their life's biggest regret. But they're still so scared. Okay, I'm going to get some advice from Spirit. I want to know what some advice for you from Spirit is. What does Spirit have to say to you? Spirit, give me some advice for pile 2. Yeah, have compassion in this time for yourself and others. I do think that is Spirit acknowledging that the path that this person is on is not easy. But I think that the emphasis that I feel reading those words is to have compassion for yourself. Because I feel like you may be having some self-recrimination of, just if I was good enough, did I say the wrong thing? Did I do the wrong thing? I think that you just have a very skewed version of this, in that I think that you think it has a lot more to do with you than it does. This is not about you not being good enough. This person you're so magnetic to this person that they have had to impose boundaries on themselves about their thoughts and behaviors around you. That's how much they feel the potential of losing themselves in you. It is not about you not being good enough. Okay, it's time to forge a new path. So yeah, I do think that waiting around for this person to work their stuff out is a losing proposition. I think you go on with your life and this person will either come around to you or they won't. But I think that they've got a real journey to go on, and it would not be good for you to just wait for them to figure this stuff out. And I honestly don't think that there is anything that you can do to help them figure it out. I think they got to go through this on their own, to tell you the truth. And let this also teach you. Yeah, I do think, and that came out connected to this firecracker card. I think that maybe what this person has perceived as like so much free and explosive energy in you is kind of, it's your own version of a shell that you've built around yourself. That you just have this, that you sort of like pre-game this rejection that you have likely experienced. It, like, people don't develop stuff like that just out of nothing. But yeah, I think that you actually have this attitude of like, oh, what people think, yeah, that is not even in my wheel. Like, I think that you do care what people think. And I think that this is an experience that will maybe teach you some methods of handling that. Because I think that you're like a person who exists between two extremes. You either have this like very brash attitude about like, I don't give not one single fuck about what you think, or you're like destroyed by what a person thinks. Like, I don't think that you have a middle ground there. And I think that this is going to teach you to have a middle ground. I think that this is going to teach you to process like emotions of uncomfortable emotions. Yeah, I think that it's uncomfortable emotions, like emotions that feel threatening. I think that this is going to be something that helps you to develop a skill set to handle those in a more balanced, moderate, healthy way. Okay, that is what I am getting from the Oracle cards. Let's dive into tarot. Spirit, tell me about pile 2 and their person. Tell me about this no contact journey. Tell me about pile 2 and their person in this no contact journey. That's too many, Spirit. Tell me about pile 2 and their person, please, in this no contact journey. Okay, so with the Page of Pentacles, you know what? I just felt, because I read the whole spread once it's out, but I like make little comments and sort of interpret it as we go along. But I think I got to get them all out before I felt that really strongly. It was like, nope, Melanie, wait, get the context. Okay, so I just got another really strong picture in my head, and I think that this has to do with that idea of let this also teach you, and that you're going to find a more balanced, like, counterintuitively, I think that it's going to be a more vulnerable way to handle emotions, but also a stronger way to handle emotions. But so, you know, Chelsea Handler and Joe Coy just broke up. It's two comedians, if you're not familiar with them. And she is this very like brash personality, but, she was on Glennon Doyle's podcast and just talked about the breakup in like a very, very raw and vulnerable way, in a way that has not been her public persona to date, which I thought was incredibly brave and likely incredibly helpful to other people who are experiencing something similar. And I think that is, I think that is a metaphor for what is going to be going on with you as well. I think that you are going to be handling this in a different way, or it's going to teach you a new skill set of ways to handle something like this. Uncomfortable, threatening emotions that I think would normally just be shoved down. I think you would normally just push them down. But this is going to be a real growth experience, which is never what you want to hear in a reading like this. I do understand that. It's very obnoxious, but I do feel like it's what Spirit's saying. So I do have the obligation to bring it through. Okay, I can already tell why Spirit was like, how about hold your horses? Let's wait till we get all the cards out and then we'll talk. Yeah, because there's some real different context than I would have talked about initially. Okay. All right. So first of all, with this Eight of Wands, let's start there. I think that they are rushing around from one thing to another, diving into work, diving into hobbies, if they're in a current relationship, diving into that current relationship. They are working so hard to distract themselves from this. Yeah, and that is absolutely that energy of putting down boundaries for themselves about how they're even allowed to think of you and how they are allowed to let their mind wander about you, because they can sense how it could sweep them away. But I don't think they can control it through sheer force of will. So I think that they are distracting themselves. They are rushing here, rushing there. Yeah, I think that they have basically scheduled themselves out like, a fourth grader from Beverly Hills. Like, I think every minute of their day is freaking scheduled with some sort of extracurricular activity. Like, yeah, they are. Because idle time is the devil to them. Like, idle time is when they have to control their mind just through sheer force of will. And I don't think that they're able to do it because they just view you as being everything they've ever looked for. Okay, so I just heard a phrase, which is something that gets said about romantic pairings in fiction, which is, everything I never thought I wanted and everything I never knew I needed. And I think that is you for this person. You check every box. You check boxes they never even knew existed. Yeah, you are the total package. Yeah, I think this contrast between this Page of Pentacles, this slow, careful, measured energy, and this like rapid action, because I do think this also represents an urge to rush toward you, but they are rechanneling that urge into action of rushing toward anything and everything but you. But I think that the contrast of these two energies is pulling them like a tug of war, and it's about to tear them apart, honestly. I don't honestly know how much longer they can exist in this state without snapping, without kind of losing it a little bit. With this Eight of Pentacles reversed, yeah, I do think that there is something about your relationship that they would view as sort of starting from scratch, starting a whole new social circle, entering a whole new world, maybe moving somewhere very different. And they are really scared to start that process. Yeah, because the Eight of Pentacles is the energy of starting at an apprentice level and working until you get to the mastery level. And I do think that they have climbed the ladder of success in their life only to get to the top of that ladder and see that it was leaned against the wrong wall. But the idea of having to start from the bottom rung and climb a new ladder, even though they have a very strong feeling, a very strong intuition, a very strong sense of knowing that that ladder is leaned against the right wall, still, it's the idea of starting from the bottom that is so daunting. And it would be very public. Like the idea of climbing down off of the ladder that they have reached the top of and starting afresh on a new ladder that's leaned against a new wall. Everyone in their social circle would see it. And again, everyone would have opinions, and they are very worried about the opinions of others. Doesn't matter whether they should be. At this point in time, they are. And that is what is holding back the Wheel of Fortune from turning on communication, on union. Yeah, it's just, they don't want to start. They don't want to start again. And they don't want to very publicly unravel what they've done and start again. They're just really afraid of what people are going to think, which is very sad, but also so common and so natural. Like, this is no shade against your person. They're in a very tough position. Yeah, let's get some channeled messages. Spirit, tell me what pile two's person would have to say from their higher self, please. Tell me what pile two's person would have to say from their higher self. Yeah, I need more time to heal and love myself. That is also a message card that came out in the first pile. So if you felt drawn to the first pile, you might want to check that out. Could have messages for you. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that though, because needing more time to heal and love yourself is I mean, we live in a broken world and it injures a lot of people, and we've got to take time for healing. Yeah, I tried to, oh my God, yes. I tried to replace you. Then I realized that you are irreplaceable and now you are gone. Yeah, I do think that there is some pressure. They know that that wheel has to turn eventually. You're not going to be 80 years old still waiting around for them to contact you. So they understand that this is a window of opportunity that is closing day by day. And they also understand that all of these activities that they're rushing around to distract themselves with in this Eight of Wands energy is no freaking replacement for you. But they're at a loss. They're just at a freaking loss. Sometimes I feel like you want too much from me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily you as a person demanding too much from them, but I feel like sometimes they feel like the situation requires too much of them. Maybe this break is for a good reason. Maybe this time apart will help us come back together. Yeah, and that came out right on top of the Wheel of Fortune. So yes, if they can get it together, if they can work this out within themselves, I really feel like the core foundational energy here is, I'm going back to the Oracle cards in my mind, and I'm realizing that another Another way of thinking of that shell energy is not just as a protective, hard outer layer, but it's also a facade. It's also a way to show a smoothed out, perfect vision to anyone looking in from the outside. So if they can manage to summon up the courage to leave that shell, to step off of it, which they are drawn to do, but they are not there yet, then yeah, I think the Wheel of Fortune will turn and you will come back together. I mean, I feel a powerful draw here between the two of you, so that very well could happen. It is really going to depend on their free will, though. So that's going to be a different outcome for each person listening to this, depending on their person's free will. But I will say this, I feel a very strong draw toward it. Okay, so we got X, K, N, R, U, B. So, okay, I gotta say, this is not an 18 plus reading, but I do feel like your person with RUB has probably been enjoying some solo playtime while they indulge thoughts of you. This is likely one of the things that has made them impose these mental boundaries about how they are allowed to think of you. Okay, with BRK, I'm seeing like broken, a BRKN, actually, I'm seeing broken. Yeah, it's like that firecracker. They're afraid it's going to go off in their hand. Yeah, so this could definitely be twin flame because we got run. So I do feel like they are running, but this definitely could be twin flame, that this is actually a runner chaser dynamic. And with X, this could also be an X. With BK, Burger King might have something to do with this. Okay, with earn, URN. Yeah, this might have something to do with a death, whether it's a metaphorical death of their old life and the rebirth of the new life that they would pursue with you. Or, perhaps this has to do with an actual death. Like maybe someone's death is going to make them rethink the meaning of life and really come to a realization about how short life is. Or maybe there is someone that has passed away that they feel like they made a promise and they're fulfilling like this obligation to this person who has passed away to live like a conventionally successful life. Yeah, something. And then with burn, I do feel like they are tempted to just like burn it all down and start fresh. But that would take a lot of courage. And that's what I feel like they're lacking right now. Okay, so we're going to pull some numbers. These numbers can be birth month, birth date, birth year, can be engram numbers, life path numbers. A lot of numbers came out. Holy cow. So we've got 0, 8, 2, 3, 6, or 9 rather, 5, and then 1, 1. So 1, 1 to me is matched pair energy. And yeah, so these can also be combined like 29, 85, 30, 50, things like that. 21. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to pull some zodiac signs. These can be signs that are prominent in one or both of your charts. These can also be energies that you're being called to be in or times of year that important things are going to happen in. Oh, and also a lot of signs came out. Wow. So we've got Cancer, Leo, Libra, Gemini. Okay, that's weird just on a personal level because that's my big four. That's my sun, moon, rising, Venus. Maybe this reading was for me. I don't really listen while I channel. I'm so focused on just what's appearing in my head and how to best interpret it that I don't really think about it as if I'm listening to a reading, like how this applies to me, but maybe I better go listen to this later. And then we have Aries, but also with Gemini being the twins here, I do feel this energy of being like having this duality and being pulled between this duality. And then with Libra being balance and justice, there's this real sense that they need to like balance these competing interests in their life. Oh, I actually forgot I was going to get like poetry magnet word art thing. Yes, let's do that before we get charms. Okay, so this is am, but I saw it also as am. So that could be symbolic, like a new dawning, a new day, but it also could be like you guys talk in the mornings. Hug and sweet. Yeah. There's some real affectionate energy between the two of you. Time, will. So yeah, I think those are the two things that are required, is to summon up the will and like for there to be enough time to process this and for this person to summon up the will, to summon up the courage. But all they have, but all they have is excuses. And with is like that idea of existence, like I do feel like they look at you as being a very critical part of their existence. I mean, that kind of goes back to the universe card, which in a 5-card spread, the third card is the central energy. It is the hub energy. Okay. So yeah, there might be a religious component to this with this angel, but I feel like this is a very sort of generous-hearted energy that the two of you share between each other. I feel like even if the two of you are in a position where there is a lot of hurt between you, there is still a lot of concern for one another. I do feel like you would wish the best for each other. You would pray for each other. Yeah, with this bicycle energy, I'm looking at that as forward motion. And with the two wheels here, like the two of you working together to achieve forward motion. With this Eiffel Tower, that is giving me, so it's giving me travel vibes. Europe may have something to do with this, but also, it occurs to me that, during the time when interracial marriage was illegal, and I mean, aside from just the legalities of it, was very discriminated against here in the United States, couples could, like in Paris, for instance, in France, their attitudes were a lot more liberal about, hold on, I'm downloading something. Josephine Baker. That's why this is in my mind. I was just reading something about her recently. And she moved to France to achieve some, like an additional level of racial equity, and also to be able to pursue relationships that were in her heart and not just that fit a societal convention. So I do think that maybe there's an element here of there might be a geographic place where the two of you would gain more acceptance. Like that might be part of this, is moving to a new geographic place might ease the strain of that 8 of Pentacles, starting fresh, starting from the beginning. Okay, and yeah, with this horse, like I noticed this horse is in a body position of galloping forward, but their head is looking back. They are torn. They are torn between moving forward and looking back. And that is your person. That is 100% your person. Okay. And then with the key, I mean, to me, again, this is that universe card. They just see you as the key to a new life, the key to everything good. You are the archway from the oracle cards through which there is a beautiful garden, a magical wonderland. Yeah, and a starfish is another animal that has a hard outer shell. And yeah, that's just been such a consistent theme throughout this reading. And then we've got this magical Tinkerbell fairy inside a star. So I do think that they view you as the star. They view you as magical. And then this is also bringing to mind something that I've seen all over TikTok, which is the Tinkerbell effect, which is that if you believe something to be true, then it becomes true. It's basically just like a cute phrase for the law of assumption. But, so yeah, that's telling me that spirit is saying like, yeah, move on with your life, do your thing, develop your own life, chase your own passions, chase your own joy and your own happiness. But if this is really important to you, that this come into union one day, then just believe that it will and hold the peace of that in your heart. Just believe that the wheel will one day turn and then pursue your own joy with the comfort of that knowledge inside your heart and carry that with you. Okay, so pile 2, that is what I have for you. I want to thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with me. And I hope that this reading was useful for you, that it brought you some clarity and some insights and some food for thought as you are like incorporating this into your, pieces of information and your intuition that you're using to make decisions moving forward. And the last thing that I want to tell you, the thing that I mostly want to leave you with is this, that you are so deeply loved, so incredibly worthy, and you are enough. Okay, bye. Hello, pile 3. If you chose the peacock card or this kind of bluish, dark, kind of slate-ish looking rock, then you have arrived at your pile. Let's take a look at the situation between you and your person, this no contact situation. Let's dive into it. Spirit, tell me about pile 3's person. Why aren't they in contact with pile 3? Why aren't they in contact with pile 3? What has led to this new... Oh, interesting. I said new. I meant to say no contact, but I do think that this is about having like itchy feet syndrome, thinking that there are new experiences out there. Yeah, look at that. And we got Discover. Discover came out in one of the other piles too. I'm forgetting which one right now. Hi, ADD. You're fun. But it was in one of the other piles. If you watch, it's the first deck that I pull from. So if you want to just spot check the other 2 piles and see what it came out. And yeah, that pile might have messages for you as well. But yeah, I think that this person doesn't have anything specific better in mind. They just have a very general idea that there must be something else out there. So I'm kind of getting the idea that either the 2 of you are young, and this is sort of like a first love situation. Sorry about that. I'm back. So either the 2 of you are young, or this is like a first love situation, or this is like a midlife crisis kind of a thing. But this is about just feeling like some mysterious, amorphous other experiences exist out there that need to be explored, that need to be discovered. Yeah, this is like I'm getting, Jack in Titanic leaning out the front of the boat saying, I'm the king of the world. Like this is about with Scout and Discovery. Yeah, especially. So this is about like exploration, seeing what else the world has to offer. And yeah, with hat, I think this is about wearing new hats and trying on new identities that they have not previously embraced. And I think that they just feel like there is some life out there, some relationship, some job, some city to live in, some lifestyle that it is going to make them feel substantially different, substantially more glamorous, substantially smarter, better looking, happier. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but they don't have like a specific plan in mind. There is nothing here that is mapped out. I do feel like the fact that they do have this thing inside them telling them that there is quote unquote something better out there it could be a red flag, but it doesn't necessarily have to be one. I think that this is kind of a thing that a lot of people go through when they have had somewhat limited or somewhat kind of same or similar life experiences, that they have not done anything super adventurous. Now, this is perhaps a desire that could be satisfied in a lot of ways, aside from them going no contact. I feel like, the two of you could even adventure together, but I think that they're just they feel prickly about this, I think. Yeah, I think that they are, if you've tried to bring up to them like the weirdness of their energy or like what they're feeling or why they're acting this way, I think they get annoyed, I think. They seem just kind of prickly to me. My guess is that this is going to be one of those situations where if they don't get back in contact with you, if they don't come back around, this is going to be one of those situations where they look back later on life, look at you as the one that got away, think how just like very dumb they were to let that happen. But it's kind of a common scenario when you are either young or having a midlife crisis. So it's not as if it never happens, but I do kind of hope that they come to their senses at least enough to deal with this relationship in a reasonable way. I feel like right now it's like they're wearing a nose ring and they're this like impulse to discover something outside of the security of this relationship sort of like has its finger hooked in that nose ring and is leading them around by the nose. I don't think that this is a situation where they are looking at anything reasonably. I'm picking them up as being extremely reactive. So, yeah, I'm not saying like you two are destined to be together. They just need to basically pull their head out of their ass. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. It might be a big collective, or I just might have not gotten enough context yet. But what I definitely feel is that they need to approach this in a more clear-headed manner than what they are. Right now, they're Roombaing. They are just going in one direction until they hit something, and then they're going in a different direction until they hit something and going in a different direction until they hit something else. There is no proactive action. There is no self-determination in their actions right now. They are just in motion and being reactive. Yeah, so there definitely is physical attraction here. I'm picking that up. But another meaning I'm picking up of that glamour card is that is how they view. I mean, I'm kind of getting an image of like Anne of Green Gables, how she envisioned this life that she would live if she were Cordelia. She had this glamorized image of what it would be like if she had money, like all these different fantasies. But early on, there was this fantasy of wanting to be called Cordelia instead of Anne. And it really evoked, I think, for her a vision of, it wasn't just about the name. It was about the life that a Cordelia would lead versus an Anne, if that makes sense. And I think that is what your person is feeling. And I think that I even said the word glamorous earlier in the reading, that they think that there's a life out there that's more glamorous or more adventurous. And yeah, I really think that that's what it is. It's almost like what a civilian would imagine it was like to be a celebrity. the reality of living as a celebrity is very different than what you might imagine it is. But there's this image of like, oh my God, it must be the most amazing. And again, that is striking me as a very young way of thinking. And I won't even say immature. Because to me, that strikes me as it's got a negative connotation. It's like you should be beyond that, but you aren't. But I think that this person just, in this particular arena, like how they view the possibilities of the world and their place in those possibilities, they are a young thinker. Because I feel like this is one of the first times in their life that they've ever even explored these concepts or explored these ideas of what kinds of life could be out there for them. And I feel like they have a much more glamorous view of whatever this thing is that they are searching for, that they're scouting for, that they want to discover. And then we've got the moon and the sun are girlfriends. So yeah, I think this is spirit really wanting to bring through. Here's the thing. I think that this thread of what the two of you mean to each other and the emotions that you share is just as important as this thread of, it actually just occurred to me that a peacock is also very glamorous. Like it's probably one of the more glamorous birds, if not the most glamorous. But that is also a thing that it's like, it's about appearances. The huge tail feathers, the very beautiful, like saturated colors and intricate decor on those tail feathers is meant to attract a mate. It's appearance. And I think that might be a thread that runs through this as well, a theme that runs through this. But back to what I was saying, again, hi ADHD, you're awesome. I do think that what the two of you mean to each other, the fact that you are yin yang, the fact that you are matched pair energy, even though we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that are about this thing that they're out there looking for, 5 if you count peacock, and only 1 card about what the two of you mean to each other and that you're matched pair energy, I think that I would put those two things on an equal level of import. Because I think that the question that you came to this reading with was not, are we connected in spirit? Are we bonded? I'm going to cry even talking about this. I feel like you know that. Like, I don't even feel like you're unclear on whether or not the two of you are soul bonded. You know that you are. I think the question you came to this reading with is, what the hell are they thinking? And so that is why I think Spirit is spending a lot of time trying to give layers and color and nuance to what it is that they are thinking. Because that is, I think that is what your questions are about. Yeah, and with this, the lover card, I do think that just like with the sun and the moon are girlfriends, that you don't have a lot of doubt in your mind about whether the two of you are a matched pair, about whether they are not a lover, but the lover. I feel like this person is the one to you. That is how you think of them. And honestly, I think that's how they think of you. But there's something else going on here. Yeah, I just think that, yeah, and look at this as well. There's a lot of fulfillment here. There's a lot of connection. There's a lot of happiness. I feel like I'm picking up this pile as having a larger percentage than other piles of people in it that are young, that just have a whole lot of life in front of them still to live. And yeah, I'm getting the vibe of like high school sweethearts deciding whether to settle down with each other or not. And Like, that could definitely be a metaphor. If you're listening to this pile and that is not you, that does not mean this pile is not for you. That could absolutely be a metaphor for just having experienced one very particular kind of life throughout your entire life. And at this point in life, feeling like, God, there's got to be more than this provincial life, to quote Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. And I mean, think about Belle from Beauty and the Beast, like, provincial life, like, a lot of people actually aspire to provincial life. I mean, look at House Hunters International. There are a lot of people that are trying to escape to like a small village somewhere where they can afford to buy a house and just live a very simple life. There's nothing wrong with this provincial life, but if it's the only life you've known, then of course you are going to feel like there must be more to the world than this. And maybe what this person needs to know is that the two of you can explore together. Because I'm really getting I haven't felt even one time that they are looking for another kind of relationship. I have channeled that they are looking for another kind of life. It's about the life. And I just feel like perhaps they are just thinking like white picket fence, 2.5 kids, life in suburbia, Wisteria Lane, like there's got to be more to life than this. That's much more the feeling that I'm getting versus that they feel like there's a better partner out there for them. So this could also be commitment cold feet as well. Like if you guys were just about ready to level up on commitment and they have suddenly either gone full no contact or just really pulled their energy back in a way that is making you think like, do I even know this person? Are we even still together? Or are we going to be soon because they're acting so strange? Yeah. So I think, goldfish, I'm getting like just this idea of being in a tank, man. And that tank may be awesome. It may have the best rocks in the bottom of the tank. It may have, a little castle that you can swim in and out of. It may even be a large tank, but at the end of the day, it's a tank. And that's what I think they feel trapped by. This, I don't even think is about you. I think that you are you are one aspect of this thing that they are feeling suffocated by. Yeah, I'm with this crown card. I definitely do get like the more traditional, interpretation that I normally would say like, oh, they really view you as their king or their queen. Like I do get that as an aspect of it, but I'm seeing really strongly, the first season of The Crown, when Elizabeth was not expecting to have to take on the responsibility of becoming the Queen of England at like in her early 20s. Like that was not it. If you've seen the first season of The Crown, it certainly wasn't Philip's plan for their life, for sure. But it wasn't hers either. And she suddenly found herself in this situation where, first of all eyes on the world were on her, that she had to behave in a very certain way, that she had to, she found herself in this gilded cage. And while it was gilded, it still was a cage. And I think that is what this person is experiencing this situation as. There are so many beautiful things about it. And again, when I say this situation, I really want you to understand that this goes beyond your relationship. Your relationship is part of it. I'm talking about an entire lifestyle. There are so many beautiful things about it, but it's still a cage. So this may be something that involves like a religion or a very specific lifestyle. Maybe, moving into a community where, maybe your family has money and so they're expected to behave a certain way because they're representing your family if they marry into your family or something like that. If not that, like something that could be a metaphor for. But yeah, there's something, and yeah, religion could be about religion. Definitely could be about religion. Could be with getting the sun and the moon are girlfriends and getting joy that has these two ladies on it. Could be about issues of sexuality. So committing to you would mean only embracing one narrow part of their sexuality and not experiencing the breadth of it for the rest of their life. Yeah, with this crown, also, I am getting the idea of commitment, like king, queen. So I'm thinking that this is either like you guys were in a dating relationship and this was sparked by the idea of getting into a deeper commitment, or their brain is just fast forwarding like before they've even made a move to you because they recognize the bond between you as being commitment material. And they're like, is this a life I can commit to? Yeah, but this is something about committing to a lifestyle where they are going to have to keep parts of themselves just caged. And I think that they're like chafing at that. And I mean, probably they should be, because I feel like if this person is having these thoughts now, then likely that is going to be a very restrictive life for them. And yeah, I feel like they're a dragon, man. They're meant to fly. They're meant to breathe fire. Yeah, I don't feel like they're made for a cage, to tell you the truth. There are a lot of animals that could be perfectly happy in a cage. Small birds, parrots. Actually, I don't know how happy parrots are in cages. They're kind of big for cages, actually. I don't know. I guess I never really thought of that before. Thought about that. But yeah, I think that, yeah, they are feeling this dragon aspect of themselves rise up, and they are just like, I gotta roar, man. I gotta breathe fire. I gotta fly. Yeah, I can't live this goldfish existence. Yeah, this really might have something to do with religion. Yeah, so I want to get some advice for you from Spirit. Spirit, what do you have to say to pile 3? What is your advice for pile 3, please? Okay, have compassion in this time for yourself and others. So yeah, you may be really frustrated with them. You may be frustrated with them for balking at the life that you want to run toward and embrace, so you just don't understand their perspective and where they're coming from. But I think you're mostly frustrated with them because they just will not communicate to you what is going on in their minds. And I think that is just, I mean, I'm picking you up right now as about ready to pull your hair out, honestly. Yeah, and so I do think that Spirit is saying, give yourself grace to feel those feelings. Your feelings are valid, but also extend them some compassion and understand that they are going through a big, like what they're feeling right now is big, and they're trying to process it like bit by bit and bite by bite. I think the reason that they are having trouble communicating to you what is going on with them is because they're afraid of hurting your feelings, honestly, because I feel like they feel that they will try to lay out this whole situation the way that I have just laid it out. And maybe they'll spend 20 minutes explaining all their feelings about all the different aspects, and that you are going to then, like, your eyes are going to well up with tears and you're going to say, so you're saying you don't want to be with me? Like, I feel like they just don't feel like there is a way to talk to you about their overall feelings without, I just feel like, yeah, every single phrase that occurs to me to say makes it sound like they're afraid you're going to take it personally, as if anyone wouldn't take it personally. That's not it. Like, they are afraid that there is no way to express it that does not come across as personal. And I don't think they know how to explain that it's about so much more than the relationship. Like, if it was literally just about you and this person in isolation, going off and living together in a place where no one's ever met you and there are no societal expectations of the two of you, you're going to go off and live in a hut on the beach on Bora Bora together. I think they would be down. I think they would do it tomorrow. You two are tied together on a soul level. They feel it. It's all the accoutrement that goes along with the relationship. That is what they are balking at. Like, they are a wild stallion, man. They're not a trained pony. You know what I mean? Okay, do not give up. There is still hope. That is very encouraging. Yeah, and that also doesn't surprise me because that came out right on top of the sun and the moon are girlfriends, which was immediately followed up by the lover, which was immediately followed up by joy. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that there's still hope. I honestly think that one very honest, raw, real conversation where neither one of you take anything personally could probably solve this and the two of you could come up with a plan. But I mean, that is something that human beings are very rarely capable of. So that's almost like a fairy tale right there. Okay, trust yourself and listen to the voice within. I think that if you are really honest, okay, you know what this is like? This is the cheesiest example, but if you saw the first Sex and the City movie, okay, Big just wanted to marry Carrie in a small little ceremony, just the two of them, about their feelings for each other. She's the one that turned it into this gigantic page 6 affair and never asked him what he thought about it. And he ended up running away and leaving her at the altar, which was a totally shithead thing to do. I'm not justifying that was the correct thing to do, but she did talk about later that she knew that she was chasing this fantasy of this page 6 wedding. And she knew, looking back, she could feel that it wasn't so much about her and Big anymore. And so I do think that if you pay attention to like the little voice inside, that something is telling you that there are things not about this relationship, on the periphery of this relationship that are about you wanting those things. And they are not about the connection that you and this person have. I don't mean to be harsh. I hope that doesn't come across as harsh, but I do think that if you are honest with yourself, you will know what I'm talking about. Probably those things are popping into your mind as I'm speaking. Okay, now is the time to rest and give yourself space to process. And I think that if you give yourself space to process, giving this person space to process as well is part of it. Yeah, I think that maybe this needs to sort of organically cook and marinate a little bit before you guys have a conversation about it. Because I feel like maybe feelings are a little raw right now, particularly on your side. I feel like there's a lot of frustration built up about why they will not just freaking open their mouth and talk to you. And I understand, and that's a very natural frustration. But I feel like maybe there needs to be a little bit of perspective on your side. And then definitely, I think this person needs to develop some additional perspective as well. And then I think maybe the two of you can have, something approaching a reasonable conversation. That's probably like a completely reasonable conversation is probably a lot to ask because this would be a very emotionally fraught situation, but something approaching a reasonable conversation. And, get some things ironed out, get some things worked out for your future. Okay, that is what I'm getting from the Oracle cards. Let's dive into Tarot. Okay. Spirit, tell me about pile 3 and their person. Tell me about this journey, please. Tell me about pile 3 and their person, please. Tell me about this journey. Tell me about pile 3 and their person, please. Tell me about this journey. Yeah, okay, I was going to say, like, cards are not wanting to come out. Yeah, so this person's an outside-the-box thinker. This person is a visionary. This person sees a life beyond what other people... Like this, okay, you go to high school, you get into the best college, you go to college, you meet your spouse, you go to grad school, you get married, you get... a good job, you get the house in the suburbs, you have 2.5 kids, you work for retirement, that is not this person's idea of a life, to tell you the truth. No shade against that life. There are many people who would love to have that life. But yeah, the 10 of Pentacles, like this, like suburban community PTA existence, look, the 10 of Pentacles is reversed. Now, the 10 of Pentacles isn't ideal. It's nothing against the 10 of Pentacles, right? The 10 of Pentacles is amazing. For 99% of people, if the 10 of Pentacles upright came out in the outcome position and the person said, you and this person are destined to have a 10 of Pentacles life together, that would be amazing. That would be the best promise. So it's nothing against a 10 of Pentacles life, but it's not for this person. They are a King of Wands. They are, so this could be about like having a high-powered job versus entrepreneurship. This could be about, this is just about, they equate being constrained in like societal bounds as utter heartbreak. And in fact, I don't even think they have the wherewithal to do it. Not long term. Not long term. I mean, I could see this person having a breakdown or something. It could be about, like feeling pressure from their, something where this relationship would be a part of it, but feeling pressure from their parents to be like a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant. And they're like, but I'm supposed to be an actor. You know what I mean? Or like, I just want to concentrate on my music or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, there's something where they are feeling life sort of sweeping them into this role that is not a bad role, but it is not the role for them. And they are wanting to break free of it. And I feel like you are a casualty of that, like, freedom run, honestly. I think that you are just a casualty, honestly. Wow, there's a lot coming out reverse. This person is really trying to get there. Yeah, look at the back of the deck energy as the star. This is not about you. You are still the star to them, but you are getting swept up in the whole situation that's happening here. Yeah, and with the King of Swords, they don't feel like they're living their truth right now. They don't feel like they're being honest about who they are, what they want, what they envision for themselves, what their soul is meant to be and do. They're not living their truth right now. Yeah, I mean, this could have to do with sexuality. Just that phrase, living their truth, made me think of that. Or their gender identity. Yeah, that's too many, Spirit. Yeah, they're just in a place that is so burdened right now. God, I actually felt that very hard. Like it hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks in my chest when that 10 of Wands card hit the board. That was heavy, very heavy. And I also think that it is very interesting how in most 10 of Wands cards, there is a very clear representation of the art that those wands are a burden. Like they're sort of falling everywhere. It's difficult to keep them corralled. It's obvious in the person's posture how heavy they are. This is a strong dude and he is carrying them in a quiver. So they are corralled. The burden is, yeah, so that does make me think that maybe it has something to do with like a religion or going into a job like accountant that just has like very clearly set out rules that you're supposed to follow. Like the burden is corralled. There is a very clearly set out boundary, and this person has been strong enough to handle it so far, but that doesn't mean it's not heavy. And that's what's really going on here. That's what's really going on here. Is it starting to get too heavy? They have only been able to carry it this far because they are strong, but they are reaching the limit of their strength and their ability to carry it. And that's why their energy is all messed up. All right, let's get a little word poetry here. Special. I mean, yeah, that's that star card that was on the back of the deck. I think that they are running from things. With can, yeah, I mean, this is about, I have said that several times during the reading. This is about the possibilities that are out there. Yeah, with friend, I do think that the two of you, yeah, friend you always. Yeah, I think it's killing them that they're hurting you. And I don't think it's a mystery to them that they're hurting you. I think that they are very pulled back right now because they're afraid of having the conversation where they hurt you even more. But, yeah. Yeah, oh, God. Okay, so yeah. You mean so much to them, and they don't want to hurt you. But yeah, there are forces bigger than the two of you at play. And again, I feel like if you guys could have a really honest conversation, that a lot of this would get solved. But I'm picking them up as so reticent right now. So reticent. Yeah, let's grab some letters, numbers, and charms. Okay. T, D. So these can be initials. They can also form words. P, U, Y, and C. Okay. So yeah, so this could have to do with taking an action, like moving, like planting yourselves in a certain neighborhood or in a certain job or in a certain church or something like that. Yeah, with cud, I'm just getting the image of like, cows chewing their cud, and it's just giving me this image of like one day the same as the next. And this routine of like all cows do during the day is like mindlessly chew their cud. TY is thank you. And yeah, I mean, to me, that's hearkening back to this, like, friend you always. Yeah, they do want to thank you for, always being there for them and being a shining light for them and being a rock for them and a comfort. And then PYT, pretty young thing. Yeah, there is some definite attraction here. Let's see. Okay, with duct, I mean, I just heard tear duct. So yeah, I think that they realize that you have likely shed some tears over this. And I think that they feel terrible about that. They have potentially shed some tears over this as well. You might not be the only one. Yeah, and with cut, I feel like they are seeing that the only way, there's no half-assing this. Like, making a big break is going to be the only way to break free of this. Like, there's not going to be another way. There's not a way to just, like, gently ease off. I feel like this is something all-encompassing. Okay, so these can be birth year, birth month, birth date, engram number, life path number, addresses, other numbers that mean something to the connection. So we've got, okay, 7, 7. So yeah, matched pair energy, all, and 3, 3. And then 7 and 3 make 10. So pairs of numbers that make 10 are also kind of matched pair energy. So yeah, that's a lot of matched pair energy there. Okay, then we've got 9 and 6, 69, dudes. Again, yes, there's sexual connection here. So these can also be, mixed in, like, mixed together, like 30, 76, 93, that kind of thing. Yes, let's grab some zodiac charms. Okay, so these can be signs that are prominent in one or both of your charts. They can also be energies you're being called to be in, or important times of year that things might happen. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, water energy much, and Gemini. Okay, so yeah, the twins, duality. Being torn between two things. But yeah, water energy. This is a very special connection. This is a very, very deeply felt special connection. Okay, so the owl was actually one of the other piles. So yeah, and we got the owl twice, which again, matched pair energy. Also, I think the idea of utilizing wisdom when it comes to like when to broach conversations, the way to word things. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's also like a very on the nose pointing out of the fact that the owl pile may have messages for you. A lot of animals here. We've got, yeah, two cats. So 2 cats and 2 owls. That tells me that grace and wisdom. And then we've got a dove. So that's peace as well. Grace, wisdom, and peace. Those are also 3 words that make me think a lot about church and religion as well. There really might be a religious connotation or connection here. Okay, so then we have, this is the second time an energy of a star has come out. This person views you as, I think, even too good for them, if anything. And views you as magical. And yeah, views you as this princess card. And this is also the second time that the idea of royalty has come out. So we've got royalty and the star. That is how this person thinks of you. This is not about you or you not being good enough. It is not about that at all. And I think that it is, really critical for you to understand that. I mean, and not just to make you feel better. I think that going into working this out, I think that Spirit is calling you to approach it with peace, to have wisdom, to exhibit grace, to both to yourself and to this other person. And I think to be able to be in a place that calm, that zen about it, you really have to not be in a defensive place. You have to really deeply understand that this really is not about you. They view you as royalty. They view you as the star. This is about all the things on the periphery that surround the two of you. And not for nothing, if you were to suggest running off to a hut living on the beach in Bora Bora, I don't know that they would be opposed to that idea. So food for thought. Just a joke, but maybe not. I mean, use your intuition. So yeah, that is what I have for you, Pile 3. I hope that it resonated. I hope that it was useful for you, gave you some food for thought, gave you some clarity, gave you some insights. But more than anything, I want to let you know that you are loved. You are very deeply loved. You are worthy and you are enough. Okay, bye. Hey, everybody. So I wanted to go through the decks that were used in today's reading in case you were curious about any of them, wanted to pick them up. So this is a deck that I originally backed on Kickstarter. It's awesome. It's called the Coastal Curiosities deck. And I really love it because not only is the art gorgeous, but there's just a lot of really interesting energies in here that you don't see in other decks. So I find it really useful for diving into more complex or nuanced or layered energies. And then we have this deck, which is also a really gorgeous deck, collage art deck, and it's called Natural Adventures. And aside from it also having a lot of really interesting energies in it, I love it because it is very inclusive and LGBT affirming and celebrating, which is not something that you see in just every deck out there. And then we have, of course, the highly popular Tea Leaf Oracles, which is where the cards from the choices came from. And that is linked on my website on the decks page, and it's available through Amazon. Okay, then we have this deck, which is called Into the Mystic, and it's really cool pieces of advice from Spirit about how to handle situations. Yeah, and also, again, just very, very beautiful art. Okay, so then we have the just stunning, one of my absolute favorite tarot decks, which is the Vagabond Wild. This is the mini edition, the second edition in mini form, and it is, it's the Vagabond Wild Tarot by Boho and Indy Wild. And yeah, like I said, it's just absolutely one of my most favorite tarot decks just because there's so much symbolism in it. It is inclusive. It's got like a dreamy quality, but it's also quite grounded. And yeah, it's just got very interesting interpretations of the cards and just such beautiful art that kind of draws you into the world. I absolutely love it. Love it so much. And then the message cards that we got at the end are by Queen Sugar, and they are called Love Notes, No Communication Edition, which I thought was very apropos for a no contact reading. And this is a great, great little message deck. Again, linked on the decks pages on my website. Okay, thanks.